Supply chain management is important in any business. The supply chain encompasses all organization and its activities associated with the flow and transformation of goods from the raw material stage through to the end user, as well as the associated information flows. Which means when you're talking about supply chain, you're talking about the process of coordinating and managing all the activities involved in the production and delivery of a product or service. That is what actually ensures that the right products are in the right place, at the right time, in the right quality and quantity, and at the right price. But what happens if something goes wrong in the supply chain? Imagine a small business that relies on a single supplier for a key component of their product. Suddenly, the supplier goes bankrupt and they're unable to fulfill their orders. The small business is suddenly unable to take care of their production since they lack the component to do so. Now, the owner of that small business is going to, desperately search for a solution. But will they find one in time? Will they be able to get their production back on track before it's too late? Usually with these things tend to usually take a turn to the worse, which means that they are forced to stop their operations, lay off employees, and lose valuable customers. That actually looks like a nightmare scenario for most business operations. And yet it is something that can be easily managed, okay? Something that can be easily avoided if you just learn how to manage your supply chain, risks, okay? The risks involved in supply chain. The supply chain is a delicate balance, and any disruption can have a domino effect, which could just cripple a business of any size. Now, before we continue with the lesson, here's a quick one. Are you tired of juggling multiple systems to manage your customer relationships? Introducing HubSpot CRM, okay, which is the all-in-one solution for managing your sales, marketing, and customer service efforts. With HubSpot CRM, you can easily manage and track your leads, deals, customer interactions, all in one central location. Now, the cool thing with this CRM is that you don't have to switch between, multiple platforms, okay? Everything is just in one platform, right? HubSpot CRM streamlines your workflow and helps you to close more deals in less time. But, that's not all. You see, HubSpot CRM, contains a powerful marketing tool that will also help you to generate more leads, increase conversion, and boost revenue. With features like lead capture form, email tracking, and automated email campaigns, you can easily attract and nurture leads and convert them into customers, okay? But if you're thinking about what about customer service, now regarding customer service, they still have you covered, right? So the thing has just about everything that you'll need, okay? So they have you covered. You can manage customer interactions and tickets, track customer satisfaction, and even automate customer service tasks. So with HubSpot CRM, you can provide your customers with the best possible experience and turn them into loyal, lifelong customers. Now look, you don't have to take my word for that, okay? Here's what you can do. Just go to the link in the video description, sign up for the HubSpot CRM, and if you're thinking, I don't want to spend money on something that I don't know how to use, well, it's simple. Sign up for free, all right? There's a free trial. Just go, check it out, sign up, and then you make your decision. Now, there are a number of reasons, okay? There are a number of reasons why small businesses should pay attention to supply chain management. We're talking about things like improved efficiency by effectively managing their supply chain. These businesses, the small businesses can reduce lead times, increase inventory turnover, and lower cost. And that is going to lead to increased productivity and, of course, profitability, okay? I mean, look at this example. Take a small clothing manufacturer, okay? By working closely with its suppliers to streamline their production process, the business can reduce lead times and increase inventory turnover. This will help the business to lower its cost, obviously, and that would mean increasing their profitability. Now, number two, the other reason is increased competitiveness. A small retail shop can increase its competitiveness by implementing an inventory management system that allows them to better track their stock and reorder products in a timely manner. And that actually is one of the benefits. Okay, that's another benefit of streamlining. your supply chain. Another benefit is number 3, better relationship with suppliers. So by cultivating relationship with suppliers, you'll get a lot of advantages. For instance, favorable terms, okay? And obviously being in the good books of the supplier means you can always negotiate other things other than just prices. So that's something that you can do as a small business. Next, reduced risk, okay? By diversifying their supplier and implementing effective risk management strategies, small businesses can reduce the risk of supply chain disruption, which can be devastating for a small operation. It's kind of simple, really. Imagine if you're running a small food distribution business. So obviously you rely on suppliers, right? And so if the supply is interrupted, then your business is done. But if you don't rely on one particular supplier, if you sort of diversify your suppliers, then, I mean, you're probably thinking, what if I don't have... No, it's not so much about the money because you're going to buy these things anyway. And so if you have like 3 suppliers, okay, 2 backup suppliers or something like that, then if one of them is out of business, then yeah, sure, the other ones can help you out. Of course, you'll probably not have as much leverage when you're negotiating with multiple suppliers as you could have if you're negotiating with one supplier. And by leverage, yes, just mean the relationship. But the thing is, okay, at this point, you're trying to minimize the risks that can occur if one of the suppliers goes bankrupt. Now, next, better customer service, okay, as well as cost management. It sort of makes sense because, look, think about it. The thing about your profit is that it sort of just comes down to either costs, okay? Can you reduce the cost and still sell at the same price as other people in that market? Brand, okay? Or even uniqueness as far as your product is concerned. And so by managing supply chain, you kind of start to reduce your cost. Now, this video is about helping small businesses to manage their supply chain. And so in this video, we're going to look at supply chain management challenges faced by small businesses, solutions to supply chain management challenges for small businesses, how to measure supply chain performance, as well as the impact of globalization on small business supply chains. Remember, at any point, if you have a question as you're going through these, you can obviously leave it in the comment section, or you can inbox, or you can... The point is you can ask through whatever platform that you're comfortable with. So let's continue. Now, let's say you're in the business of making custom-made shoes. What supply chain issues will you be facing? There is the question of where exactly are you getting these materials, okay? Where are you getting your materials from? Let's say your supplier is located in another country, since it's cheap that way. One major risk that the company will face, or that your company in this case will face, is the potential for production delays and quality issues, which will arise from, the customization process. That can lead to delays, okay? Delays in fulfilling your orders, and that will lead to you having dissatisfied customers. Your company will also face risks related to currency fluctuations and import or export regulations, which can add costs and complexity to your supply chain. What can you do about that? In fact, let's talk about steps in identifying and managing risks in the supply chain. There are several steps, okay? There are several steps that a business can take to identify and manage their supply chain risks. The first of this is going to be identifying and assessing potential risks. So this will include, it's basically identifying the risks that could affect the business. So we're talking about things like disruption in the supply of raw materials, production delays, or even changes in regulation. Identifying the risks is just one thing. You also need to go ahead and figure out, okay, so what are the likelihood of that risk occurring? And supposing that risk occurs, okay, what is the impact? So there is the potential, the probability that it will occur. And if it does, in fact, occur, then what is the impact? Now, number 2, develop a risk management plan, which means that once you've identified the risks, it's time for you to figure out how you're going to handle it, basically how you're going to mitigate it. This plan should include strategies for reducing or eliminating the identified risk, as well as contingency plans for responding to them if they occur. The third one is implementing risk management strategies. There is no point in having a plan if you're not going to implement it. What's the point? After developing a risk management plan, it's important to implement the strategies in order to mitigate or manage the risk. Now that can include diversifying suppliers, implementing a quality control process, or building up a buffer of stock materials. Number 4, monitor and review. It is important, obviously, it's important for you to continuously assess the progress. It's important for you to monitor and review what's happening. This will help in identifying new risks and assessing the effectiveness of risk management strategies in place. Of course, if new risks are identified, then it's just like back to step 1, right? So you need to identify them, figure out a plan to handle them, and it's a cycle. Next, communicate and collaborate. It is important so you know what the problem is. So it's time for you to communicate with the people, the stakeholders, or the people who are likely to be affected or to affect your supply chain process. So if there is a problem, if you think delay is an issue, then that means communicating with the suppliers involved or the transportation or the logistic company involved. That's how you handle that. By working closely with suppliers, a small business can develop a more comprehensive understanding of potential risks and develop a more effective strategy for mitigating them. As a small business selling goods, as a small business selling goods, inventory is going to be an issue at some point. So that is something that you always have to know. So if you keep too much inventory, what happens? So you keep too much inventory and you have your capital tied up. If you keep too little of it, then you also risk running out of stock. In fact, if you keep too much, you also incur certain costs like, storage fees, which you're going to pay nonetheless, except in this case, you're paying them to store things that are not really giving you money, if and when you need the money, right? So you need to have your inventory optimized. But how do you do this? Well, the good news is that there are a number of options available to you, So it's not like if there is only one solution. So these are some of the things that you can do. Number 1, just-in-time inventory management. This means that inventory is going to be ordered, all right? We only order inventory when they are needed. So we don't really keep extra stock there, which no one is really asking for. That's the whole thing with just-in-time, a sort of inventory management system. This helps to reduce inventory carrying cost and risk of stock out. An example of this would be a retail store that orders and receives new product only when they are needed to restock their shelves. Number 2, inventory management software. So you can use softwares, You can use inventory management softwares to help out with this. So the software is going to help out to track stock levels, sell trends, and reorder points, which will mean that your business is going to quickly figure out if they need more stock or if certain stocks are not moving, as opposed to, wing it. Third one, safety stock. So by safety stock, a safety stock is an extra amount of inventory kept on hand to mitigate the risk of stockouts. It is used as a buffer to ensure that a business has enough inventory to meet customer demands, even if there are unexpected delays in receiving new stock. So like in this case, you can have stock worth, an extra 2 weeks worth of stock, just in case you order. Anytime you order, let's say you're ordering on 5th, but you still have a stock that can last you up to the next 5th. That way, if there is an issue with the delivery of the stock, you have to tell your customers that we are out of stock. The point here is that you're operating under the assumption that, things can go wrong. And if they go wrong, I'm covered. Next, review and evaluate inventory. So by regularly reviewing your inventory, don't just be lazy and assume things are there. By regularly reviewing your inventory, you start to have an idea of what is there and what isn't there. So if you're running a clothing store business, this would mean regularly reviewing your inventory so that you can mark down any clothes that haven't sold in a few months to make room for new products. And the fifth one is developing relationship with suppliers. Building a good relationship with suppliers can help ensure timely delivery and negotiate favorable terms, such as volume discounts or longer payment terms. We know that, right? Think about it. Most of the time when you're negotiating, you can take the all distributive approach, where you want to win and you expect them to lose. Or you can take a collaborative approach, where you're working together with the other party. So by having a good relationship with the suppliers, it means you'll be collaborating to ensure that there is a win-win outcome in that transaction. Yeah, so those are things that you can do as a small business owner to optimize your inventory and manage it. Okay, so we talked about building relationship with suppliers. The thing about relationship with suppliers is that it can look simple in theory, but when it comes to practice, then it's something else. So how do we do it? To answer this, let's assume that you're running a bakery business, all right? So that's the thing. Let's just assume you're in a bakery business. Now, how can we foster positive relationship with our suppliers? Well, it's not so much the bakery business or whatever, it's just any business. So now we're just having one business so that you can think about it rather than turning the entire thing abstract. So here are the steps that you can take when you're trying to foster relationship with your suppliers. Number one, identify potential suppliers. So this will involve researching and compiling a list of potential suppliers that can provide the necessary ingredient and equipment for the bakery business. Next, evaluate these suppliers. Now, in this case, you want to conduct a thorough evaluation of the suppliers, and you are sort of evaluating them in terms of things like cost, quality of products, delivery times, as well as customer service. Now you've done that, which means you are narrowing down the list. The next thing is building relationships. Once a supplier has been identified, obviously you want to start building the relationship, okay? Working on that relationship. This can be done by regularly communicating with the supplier, being responsive to their needs, and providing feedback on their products and services. Number 4, you want to negotiate a contract, okay? So the whole point of all these, the whole point of doing the relationship, blah, 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 is so that you can have a legally binding agreement, in which case they agree to supply something, and in exchange for that, you're going to pay them, right? So work with the supplier to negotiate contracts that are beneficial for both parties. These will include agreeing on things like price, delivery schedules, payment terms. Of course, that is important. Now, the next thing is monitoring performance. Regularly monitor the supplier's performance to ensure that they are meeting the agreed upon terms and that their product and service continue to meet your bakery needs. Next, provide feedback. Any relationship, we know that any relationship is going to be a two-way thing, right? Which means the suppliers need to know where they're going wrong if you also expect them to tell you where you're going wrong. Otherwise, the entire thing is just going to be a one-sided thing where you blame them and they have no idea you're blaming them, and now you're frustrated in your office, or in this case, in your bakery. And yeah, that's not going to be productive in any way. Provide constructive feedback to the supplier on areas where they can improve. This can help to identify and resolve any issues before they become major problems. And next step, reward good performance. I mean, it's just one of those things in motivation, okay? People like to know that their efforts have been noticed. So if the supplier has done something good, or the parties to the supply chain in this case, it's time to reward them, okay? This can help to strengthen the relationship and encourage suppliers to continue providing excellent product and service. And the reward can be as simple as just giving a review, a positive review, a 5-star review, things like that. Those things tend to help a lot with small businesses because we live in a world where people, you want something, you just go and Google it. You use technology, right? And then you think of all the people with good ratings, and that's where you buy your product. So that rating, okay, which is an equivalent of subscribing or hitting the like button or leaving a positive comment, whatever, that sort of thing is going to go a long way if you're trying to sort of help a small business to grow. And the same thing if you're trying to reward your suppliers. At this point, I just want to quickly remind you that if you're tired of using, things like spreadsheets, Excel, writing stuff on piece of paper, and by stuff I mean your customer or supplier's detail, yeah, there is an alternative, okay? There is a positive solution to that. In fact, there is an effective solution to that. And the solution in this case is going to be in the form of HubSpot CRM, okay? Which is here to simplify your sales process and streamline your customer management. This is actually an easy to use platform, all right? I mean, you can keep all your customer data in one place and access it from anywhere. You can also track your sales pipelines with ease. The software allows for integration with popular tools like email, calendar, all of which just makes it easier to organize your business and bring your game, okay? Bring on your game. So you really don't want to miss out on a chance to take your sales to the next level. In fact, go ahead, okay? Check out the link in the video description. There's a sign up link there. Sign up for your free trial, okay? And then after that, you can decide on how you want to proceed. Or you can actually just buy the thing. I mean, the point is, it's there. So don't make any excuse. Don't be like, well, I'm just a small business and I don't have money to buy software, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I mean, you can take advantage of that. There are a number of technology available to small businesses that they can use to manage their supply chain. We're talking about things like inventory management softwares. So these are softwares that allow small businesses to track the inventory levels, reorder products, and set up automatic reordering when stock reaches a certain level. That is obviously going to help the small business to save on time, cost, and focus on other things which are more pressing to their business as opposed to being obsessed with their inventory. So example here, we have things like Zoho Inventory, which is a software you can check out. Number 2, supply chain management softwares, which are also softwares that can help small businesses with tracking orders, managing relationships with suppliers, and plan production schedules. Oracle supply chain management sort of system is also an example here. Okay, so Oracle SCM Cloud, that's an example. Number 3, transportation management systems. This include technology which helps small businesses to plan and optimize shipping routes, reducing costs and increasing efficiency. Talking about things that can give you almost real-time tracking of your fleet, okay? Tracking your shipment in real time. So these are technologies. They are all available there. I mean, the point is, you really don't want to just hold yourself back under the pretext of, I'm a small business. And these are only meant for big businesses. Nope. If there is leverage, if there is an advantage, you take it. Okay? And that is how you turn your small business into, a huge, giant sort of business. Barcode scanning and RFID, which are technologies that can help small businesses track products as they move through the supply chain, and that will improve efficiency and visibility. So there are those, options. So by using this technology, small businesses can improve their supply chain management and optimize their operation. This can result in cost saving, increased efficiency, and improved customer service. Now, in the fast-paced world of business, time is money and efficiency is key. Which means that in this sort of situation, small businesses' efficiency or effectiveness will just come down to how they manage their logistics as well as their transportation system. We're talking about identifying transport needs, setting budget and delivery timelines, to selecting the most cost-effective and efficient mode of transport. Every step in this case, every step has to be executed with precision and care. So, think about it. 3 things that matter in business: financing, operations, marketing. This is part of operations, okay? Here are the steps a small business can take to manage the logistics and transportation. Number 1, identifying transportation needs. So the business has to determine the type and frequency of products or goods that need to be transported, as well as the delivery locations. Now, that can be something like figuring out the frequency, which could be weekly, okay? So you probably have to move products from a given location to multiple warehouses on weekly basis. That's what you're talking about here. Number 2, set budget and delivery timelines, okay? So you need to figure out how much that transportation, all transportation thing is going to cost. So you just can't be like, yeah, you move those things and then you have to pay petrol, you have to pay the driver and things of that nature, right? This could be something like a budget of, say, $5,000 per month for transportation, and aim to have products delivered within 5 business days. Now, number 3, select cost-effective and efficient mode of transportation. you have to figure out, are you going to be doing ground shipping? Are you going to be doing air shipping? So if you're dealing with large products, then obviously you need to use trucks and things on the ground. If you're dealing with products that are needed quickly, but they're not so big, then you can use air, because then that will make sense. 4, establishing relationship with suppliers and transportation providers. We've already talked about why relationship is important. So by developing relationship with key stakeholders in the supply chain, so in this case, stakeholders relating to the transportation, then you start to have, you tend to have leverage as opposed to other of your competitors who aren't doing this. Next, use technology, okay? So you have to utilize the available technology. I mean, you can no longer, this is one of those, we live in one of those situations where you just can't afford to be complicit. You just can't afford to say, well, that is for other people. No, it isn't. If it is going to afford you an advantage, you take it. So that's the thing about the supply chain at this level. Next, consider third-party logistic providers. So sometimes you don't have to handle these things on your own. You can use a third-party logistic providers. The idea is to contract a 3PL, okay, so third-party logistic provider, to manage inventory, packaging, shipping, and delivery. If that is going to be, I mean, look, if you can afford to pay for it, then just pay for it and let somebody else handle it, okay? A professional handle it on your behalf. Next, continuously review and optimize. I mean, yeah, so you want to continuously review and optimize the all logistic thing so that you can figure out where mistakes are and how you can plug those problems or how you can fix the mistakes. Measuring supply chain performance is essential for businesses to identify areas for improvement and track progress over time. Let's assume you're the owner of an agricultural business called XYZ Farms, which specializes in growing and distributing fruits and vegetables to local grocery stores and restaurants. The company has been in operation for 10 years and has steady growth in sales over the past few years. However, you are becoming concerned about the efficiency and effectiveness of the business's supply chain operations. You want to measure the performance of the supply chain in order to identify areas for improvement and to track progress over time. Now, how do you go about doing that? Number 1, you can use key performance indicators, that is the KPI. Now, so these are metrics that are going to be used to track things that are key to your performance. So you could be talking about tracking things like on-time delivery rate, okay? So the percentage of orders that are delivered on or before the promised delivery date. Number 2, inventory turnover rate. That is also something that is important that becomes part of your KPI. In this case, you're talking about the number of times inventory is sold and replaced in a given period. You also want to check order fill rate, okay? The percentage of customers' orders that are fulfilled without delay. So remember, the key thing is that you're talking about key performance indicators. In order for something to be key, so you can't have like 10 things that are key. You probably need 3 to 5 things that you need to handle. Number 2, the other thing that you can also measure as part of figuring out your supply chain performance is surveys. So you can use surveys to measure that, okay? So the surveys are a great way of figuring out performance in your supply chain, okay? So by surveys, we're talking about sending surveys to customers and suppliers to gather feedback on areas such as communication, responsiveness, as well as overall satisfaction. Now, the third thing that you can do is just root cause analysis, which is an investigative process that helps businesses to identify specific issues that are impacting performance. An example in this case could be if the agriculture business is experiencing a high number of stockouts, then a root cause analysis might reveal that the issue is caused by lack of communication between the business and its suppliers. Number 4, you can use benchmarking. In this case, you're comparing your organization to another organization that either you'd like to be like or that you're actively competing with and you'd like to, dominate. I mean, that's the whole point of competition, right? Number 5, performance dashboards. So creating performance dashboards that can track key metrics over time can help business identify patterns and trends that point to areas of concern. There are tools, okay? I mean, there are tools that can help you do this. The HubSpot CRM that we keep on talking about is an example of such, which you can actually access in the link provided in the video description. But Excel sheets and all these things will give you an overview, okay? Sort of dashboard that you can look at and say, why is this thing not performing compared to this other thing? So you can do that. By measuring supply chain performance regularly, businesses can identify areas for improvement and develop a plan of action to address them. This can lead to increased efficiency, better customer satisfaction, and ultimately a more profitable business. Globalization refers to the increasing interconnectedness and interdependence of countries, business, and people around the world. These can be driven by advances in technology, transportation, and communication, as well as the liberalization of trade and investment. So globalization can actually have a significant influence on small business operations. On one hand, it can provide small businesses with access to new markets, customers, and suppliers, which can help grow and expand the business. A business may be able to sell their products to customers in other countries, and they may be able to source new raw materials or components from suppliers in other countries at lower costs. But it's not always the case that it's going to be rainbows and puppies and positivity, right? There is also a dark side to this. There is a negative aspect of globalization. For instance, small businesses may face increased competition from larger multinational companies, which can make it harder for them to maintain their market share. And then there's the issue of complying with regulations and standards of other countries, which can be a struggle for small businesses. They can be exposed to currency fluctuations or other economic risks. In short, when talking about globalization, there is a positive aspect to it, just as much as there is a negative aspect to it. So it's just a question of can you handle the negative and can you maximize on the positive? So let's talk about some of the things that a small business can do to manage global supply chain issues. And the first of those is establishing clear communication and collaboration with suppliers. I mean, effective communication is key. We keep on saying that. We keep on coming back to that. If you have suppliers, then you want to know what is happening. You want to know where they are as far as your order is concerned. Or as far as the point is you want to know where they are as far as the supply chain issues are concerned. This includes setting clear expectations for delivery schedules, quality standards, and other performance indicators. Now that can be as simple as using online communication to track where everything is as far as the supply chain is concerned. And that is the reason why you keep on saying, embrace technology, man. Embrace technology if it is available in your field. Number 2, understand and manage risks. We've already said that, but anyway, with global supply chains, you can be exposed to issues such as political instability, natural disaster, currency fluctuation, and to manage any of those things, you need to have a clear understanding of what those threats are. And you have to know exactly the possibility of them occurring, or at least have an idea, and the impact should they occur. A company might diversify its supplier base to reduce dependency on a single supplier or a single region, or might use hedging strategies to protect against currency fluctuation. Number 3, invest in technology. I mean, we do know that technology will obviously play a vital role in global supply chain. By investing in technologies such as enterprise resource planning systems, companies can gain greater visibility and control over their supply chain operations. This can help them to optimize inventory levels, track deliveries, and identify inefficiencies. Look, most of these technologies are available. I keep on coming back to one of them, the HubSpot CRM and all these other available technologies that you can actually access, sign up for free trial, check them out, see if they make sense, decide to buy. I mean, the point is, Yeah, you can do that. Or you can just wait for the supplier to send you an email saying things are moving according to plan. And then you're like, okay, now where are you? As far as my order is concerned. And then they're like, we are working on it, but you can't track anything. So, yep, embrace technology. Okay. Next, build strong relationships. Okay. So build strong long-term relationship with suppliers, which will help you to manage your supply chain. I mean, by working closely with these people, you'll be in a position to understand their capabilities, capacity, and limitations. And that would mean you will know where you're going to go in future if you have to deal with them again. Now, number 5, ensure compliance, right? Remember, with globalization, you're dealing with more than one country. And each of these countries will have their own regulations and compliance that you need to meet. So these are things you need to know. You don't want to be the clueless person who's like, well, in my country, we do it this way. It's like, yeah, you're not in your country, okay? Here, this is how it works. So you have to understand some of those compliance issues because you're not going to compete with, look, you're the one who think you're small. As far as big companies are concerned, you are all competing for the same customers. So the customer may not really care about the size of your business. They just want to care about efficiency or in terms of how you deliver your products and services. And so if you can do it better by understanding the compliance issues in the country that you are dealing with or with the suppliers that you're dealing with, then that can give you an edge. These will include things like trade regulations, import-export laws, labor laws, okay? Companies should have a clear understanding of the regulations that apply to their business and put in place processes to ensure compliance. To summarize everything that we've just covered, right? Effective management of supply chain ensures a combination of clear communication and collaboration with suppliers, risk management, investment in technology, building strong relationships, and ensuring compliance with regulations. So at that point, if there is any question, do let me know. I'm Moses, and I'll see you in the next video.